Can I welcome you to this conference following our G20 summit. This is the day that the world came together to fight back against the global recession. Not with words, but with a plan for global recovery and for reform, and with a clear timetable for its delivery. And our message today is clear and certain. We believe that in this new global age, our prosperity is indivisible. We believe that global problems require global solutions. We believe that growth to be sustained must be shared, and that trade must once again become an engine of growth. The old Washington consensus is over. Today we have reached a new consensus that we take global action together to deal with the problems we face, that we will do what is necessary to restore growth and jobs, that we will take essential action to rebuild confidence and trust in our financial system, and to prevent a crisis such as this ever happening again. There are no quick fixes, but with the 6 pledges that we make today, we can shorten the recession and we can save jobs. First of all, for the first time, we have come together to set principles to reform the global banking system. This is a comprehensive program of measures that includes, for the first time, bringing the shadow banking system, including hedge funds, within the global regulatory net. We have agreed that international accounting standards will have to be set. We will regulate credit rating agencies in order to remove their conflicts of interest. We have agreed that there will be an end to tax havens that do not transfer information on request. The banking secrecy of the past must come to an end. The Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development are this afternoon publishing a list of tax havens that are non-compliant and where action must immediately be taken. And we have agreed tough standards and sanctions for use against those who don't come into line in the future. We will create a new financial stability board to ensure cooperation across frontiers, to spot risks to the economy, and together with the International Monetary Fund, provide the early warning mechanism that this new global economy needs. We will complete the implementation of international colleges of supervisors of financial institutions, and we will implement new rules on pay and bonuses at a global level that reflect actual performance with no more rewards for failure. We want to encourage corporate responsibility in every part of the world. Secondly, we will clean up the banks so that they increase lending to families and businesses. And to enable this, we've agreed for the first time a common global approach to how we deal with impaired or toxic assets. Third, we've agreed to do what it takes to restore global growth and hasten recovery. Since our last meeting in Washington, and as part of this process from Washington, G20 countries have announced and are now implementing the largest macroeconomic stimulus the world has ever seen. We are in the middle of an unprecedented fiscal expansion, which will, by the end of next year, amount to an injection of $5 trillion into our economies. And it will save or create millions of jobs in a period where we must combat unemployment. In addition to the dramatic interest rate cuts, our central banks have pledged to maintain expansionary policies, as we state in the communiqué, expansionary policies as long as they are needed, using the full range of options available to them. But we have also agreed today additional resources of $1 trillion that are available to the world economy through the International Monetary Fund and other institutions. This includes $250 billion from special drawing rights, the reserve currency of the IMF, drawing rights that will be issued to countries who are part of the International Monetary Fund. This is available to all IMF members And at the same time, we will treble the resources of the International Monetary Fund itself with up to an additional $500 billion. Together, these actions give us confidence that the global economy can return to trend growth even faster than the International Monetary Fund is now predicting. And we have today called on the International Monetary Fund to monitor our progress towards this objective and to report on whatever further actions may be necessary. Fourth, alongside these extra resources, we will ask the international institutions to strengthen their independent surveillance of the world economy and to promote growth and the reduction of poverty. We are agreed that the mandates of these institutions that were created in 1945 must now be reformed to make them more accountable, more representative and more effective. And this includes giving emerging markets and developing countries greater voice and greater representation. And we will also enable that the heads and senior staff of these institutions are appointed on merit. Fifth, we are going to act decisively to kickstart international trade. Trade is a crucial driver of growth in the global economy. We are agreed to work urgently with leaders discussing, meeting and preparing for a conclusion to the Doha trade round, and this has the potential to boost the global economy substantially. To address what is a huge shortfall in finance for trade, 90% of all trade depends on this finance. We have today agreed to make available not the 100 billion which was originally called for, but 250 billions of trade finance. This will be provided over the next 2 years through our export credit and investment agencies and through the multilateral development banks, and this will include 50 billions through the new World Bank program that is being established. We will act also to make our global recovery fair and more sustainable. This time of financial crisis is no time to walk away from our commitment to the world's poorest. So when people are suffering, and yet it is within our capacity to help, we will not pass by on the other side. We remain firmly committed to meeting our Millennium Development Goals and our pledges on aid. And to deal with this crisis for the poorest countries, we have asked the International Monetary Fund to bring forward proposals to use the proceeds of agreed sales of gold to support low-income countries. And so, in total, we have reached agreements worth 50 billion for the poorest countries, alongside our support for a World Bank Vulnerability Fund. In mobilizing the world's economies to fight back against recession, we are resolved to seize the opportunity of our fiscal stimulus programs to promote low-carbon growth and to create the green jobs on which our future prosperity depends. And we have committed to building on this by working together to seek agreement on a post-2012 climate change regime at the UN conference in Copenhagen in December. And we have asked our finance ministers to complete the reforms of the regulatory system, and we will meet again as G20 leaders later this year to take stock of progress. When the Wall Street crash happened in 1929, it took 15 years for the world to come together to rebuild and renew our economies. This time, I think people will agree that it is different. We will not hesitate, as long as people are losing their jobs and their homes, to make the difference that we can by improving their prosperity. Today's decisions, of course, will not immediately solve the crisis, but we have begun the process by which it will be solved. A few years ago, meetings such as this could not have happened with so many different countries from diverse continents involved. Far less could there have been an agreement amongst them. But today, the largest countries of the world have agreed a global plan for recovery and reform,